Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my life. I don't know, I haven't got really a major agenda here today. There's little bits and pieces I want to talk about. I want to seek your opinions and approvals on what you think I should be doing as the next part of my prophet lists. I'm still in production with Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. But it's taking longer because I'm having to do it in segments because I want to be accurate about the stories. And Prophet Musa's story is all over the Quran. It's not like it's in one area. So for me to be accurate in my depictuation of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, I have to go across the entire length and breadth of the Quran. So since I'm doing my own research myself, it is very time consuming in digging up the various bits and pieces of Prophet Musa, peace be upon him. So that's fundamentally the bit about the prophets list. I am open to suggestions after Prophet Musa. I'm not entirely sure whether I want to do Prophet Ishmael and his brother Isaac, simply because I know how incredibly toxic that can be. It can be incredibly damaging and politically unresponsive. I'm just going to share the live so people know that I'm here. There we go. Assalamu alaikum. So, my apologies to whoever came into my chat. Whoa, there's two of you. Damn. I did not see who that is. So, yeah, as I was saying, I was just sharing the live briefly. So, involving Prophet Musa, peace be upon him, I have, in essence, doing it in stages because of how much it's spread across the Quran itself. On Prophet Ishmael and Isaac, I'm not entirely sure whether I want to do them, simply how they are politically very controversial, or I might do them as my last prophets on the storytelling of their prophets, the 25 prophets I'm going to do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone joining my live. So my goals are basically to do the 25 prophets, or do as many of them as my creative mind allows me to do so. Because I do run out. I mean, people think that content creators can do this every day, non-stop. There is a battery. We do run down at some point, mentally and psychologically. So it is a lot more harder than people think it is. One of the things I think I should be doing about, I've been looking into getting my teeth fixed, and I've noticed that many Muslims seem to have an issue with it. It's not a regular thing that Muslims say. They say, oh, you should fix your teeth, you should fix your beard. I can't do anything about my bloody beard. I mean, there's only so much even the magic of Abu Fesser's beard oil can do. I mean, this is an achievement by itself from the Abu Fesser. You know, there's some face fuzz on me. Salam alaikum, sister. So, I mean, Abu Fesser is already doing some kind of miracle work with my pasty Irish skin as it is. Though, relatively speaking, I'm having a pretty good day. I'm glad the weather has calmed down. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. The weather was something else. straight out, like we had a taste of the beast, just a taster of the beasts of Jenin. That was damn. I've still got ice cubes in the fridge, in the freezer, waiting to be used. That's how cold I want it to be. So, as I said, today it's a general chat. Anyone have some advice on material content? I always like hearing my subscribers' views on what I should and shouldn't be doing in content. I do have a Reva interview that is due. I'm hoping to have it done tomorrow. I've got a young brother that I'm going to be bringing on, who very few people actually know he's Muslim. Alhamdulillah, so I'm quite privileged at that. He's kept very, very quiet about that. So I'm looking forward to bringing the young brother's story forward, and I hope to do that tomorrow. But I'm hoping to have the Musa story finished tonight. Oh, CH, my boy, Bully Fingers. What a name. So yeah, I've got a young Muslim brother that I'm bringing on to my revert interviews, which have stalled because there aren't many reverts who want to come forward. I have asked a lot. I'm always asking reverts in the quietness of the background. I don't go out of my way to publicly ask them because I feel that's wrong. And I'm connected enough to the revert community that there is a reluctance to step forward, a mixture of fear, a mixture of anxiety, I suspect. But I have a young brother who I'm going to have on in the next couple of days, relatively speaking, and I'm hoping very, very clearly to have his revert interview. I've finished recording by Friday, probably up by Monday, and then I will get back to the prophets, peace be upon him. Though I'm hoping for other revert interviews if I can get hold of them. Though people are generally very nervous around that stuff. How's everyone else keeping? I hope you're all good. Walk through around your city and maybe a reviewing masjid of halal restaurants. So fair enough. That's a something, Sahil. Firstly, I walk around my city. My city's about 45-minute drive from me. I don't actually live anywhere near Gloucester City. And in fact, if you were to go as the crow flies, which you can't do, but if you were to go to Crowfly, I'm actually physically closer to Cardiff. Yeah, the sheep shaggers. I'm closer to Cardiff than I am towards Gloucester City, where I live, because I'm so close to the Welsh border itself. Like we can see the Welsh border, the theoretical Welsh border. I've been told by one of the local farmers exactly where the Welsh border is. And on a clear day, you can see the Welsh border. So I live that far in the countryside that I don't actually live near Gloucester City. But I go to masjid as often as I can, which isn't that often. I will be completely candid about this. It's just because it's such a distance for me, and I am literally the Muslim in my village. That's not a euphemism. That is a genuine truth of the matter. But I think I might actually do a blog walking around Gloucester City at some point when I have the opportunity to do so. I'll drive up there for the day, go there in the early morning, and basically do a blog walking around. Of showing off the various sites of Gloucester City. That's some very, very insightful thought there. Yeah, I know, but Bullfingers, it's a lot more calmer over here, CH, to be quite honest. It's the YouTube side is a lot more relaxed because I don't have trolls. Trolls won't come to my YouTube page. That in upon itself is beautiful. I mean, that makes it a lot more relaxed. I can have a lot more informal conversations with my subscribers and people who just want to sit and chat. And it's great that way. I mean, I can have a chat room as big as 10, sometimes 12 people in it. But it's not that often. I mean, a lot of people tend to watch my material in the evening. It's just I prefer to do it around lunchtime area because I end up clashing. If I go live at 7, 9 o'clock, I clash with a lot of my brothers and sisters. Astaghfirullah. So I have yet to find a time slot that is, and that's one of the things I should do. I should do an explanation of a time slot in one of my videos, and get people to pick when it would be most applicable for them to come forward. Because 2 o'clock seems to be too early for many of my Muslim brothers and sisters, and I get more of the sisters on at 2 o'clock, and I don't get as many brothers, which is a shame because I wouldn't mind a very, very canopical approach to my YouTube. So I can get the opinions of brothers and sisters. Excuse me. But I don't want to do it like 7, 8, 9 o'clock because the big TikTok, the big YouTubers like Jordan come on and Ben come on, and then everyone just flocks there. And I'm guilty for that myself. I go over and watch them. So I mean, it's not like it's a thing. It's like, what's Ben doing? I want to see what Ben's doing, kind of response. So Ben Icarus is on, and then Jordan's on Muslim Geezer. So I, as much as anyone else, want to see them. So I need to fit a time slot that's available for everybody. So far, it's 2 p.m. because my sisters are online, and I do get some people in the comment section, and I don't feel like I'm just waffling to the camera by myself, which does feel a bit on a kind of weird, strange kind of situation. But yeah, I mean, barring beard rollers and Abulfessa's amazing oil, is there any suggestions on helping my beard? Because it is still absolutely pasty Irish kind of style. It is horrible. I so want to fix it. Anything anyone particularly wants to ask me? I mean, the idea about going around Gloucester City does sound like something I want to do, but it is a trek away from where I am. I don't live within those. Salam alaikum, Joe. Welcome to my life. Think about Jordan Peterson's message and video. Wow, because that kind of came out a bit left scene with Jordan Peterson's message video. Many Muslims were taken aback by it. Yeah, I'm intending to do the Prophet. I'm going through that Prophet section. That is now my main project in terms of actual recording and videoing. That's my bread at the moment. I'm just thinking of other things that I could put in live. But to answer the Jordan Peterson, I haven't done a video on this because ultimately the premises of some of the things he has said, I agree with. And that's quite scary for me to say. Not the delivery, not the way he's done it. It has been considered quite provocative. But I think that Jordan Peterson talking about sending pen pals to each other, maybe that's naive. Maybe I'm being naive in that regard. But the premises of what he's trying to achieve, I can understand and I agree with to a degree. But the things he said about Islam, of course, like any other sensible Orthodox Muslim, I disagree with it. But involving the Jordan Peterson side, who are the Jew? But in essence, the fundamentals of what Jordan Peterson has said, in terms of trying to bridge the gap between us and Shias, let's be fair about this. I've said that before. I have said that we need to try and find different ways. I don't necessarily think Jordan Peterson's method is going to work. I don't think his approach is going to work, but I do emphasize with his mission to try and heal the rift between us and the Shias. I do. I fundamentally do think it is a noble position to be in. And many Orthodox Sunnis are deeply offended by that. But you go from an academical point of view, if you're trying to approach these problems and think and articulate these problems, and yes, he's on the dial-up wire. Yes, there is. Many of our brothers have quite, mashallah, have mentioned very clearly that there might be a hidden agenda to his attention and much of his actions, which the liberal Muslims may very likely be pushing themselves. But the idea of an outreach, not necessarily the Jordan Peterson way, but the idea of an outreach to try and solve our problems with our Shia brothers and sisters, I think is noble. It's a noble idea to have. And I don't object to that kind of thing. Assalamu alaikum, Anonymous. Welcome, sisters. Lovely to see you. In essence, I genuinely feel that Jordan Peterson has, in some ways, he's being savaged because many Muslims were hurt, that they felt that he was going to be eventually be converted to Islam. Many Muslims felt that betrayed in that regard. There will be that level of betrayal sense that comes along from Jordan Peterson's actions. But I think from fundamentally many Muslims are missing the fact that from an academic, he is trying to solve problems. Now, has he approached the problem correctly? I don't think so. And you always got to give people the benefit of the doubt. I haven't seen the full video, so please bear with me if those of you are saying, what are you talking about, Yahya? I'm saying from what the clips I've seen of the Jordan Peterson video from The Wire, I suspect his intentions were noble. Jordan Peterson, sister, if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, you need to crawl out from underneath that rock. He's been engaging with Mohammed Hijab. He's been engaging with brother Sheikh Yusuf. He has, online, he's been talking to a lot of Muslim dawah people, like a huge amount of them. You have to look him up. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, people and non-people. But Jordan Peterson, in many ways, has been, I think he's being naive in the problem, because you remember he's coming from it from a universal academical position. He is probably not going to know the ins and outs, the conflicts, the blood that's been spilt between us. There is a great deal. Drop it, bro. Drop it. Let the floodgates open. I honestly feel that from an academical point of view, he's being very naive in his approach towards the problems with our Shia brothers and sisters. And honestly, he probably shouldn't have tackled it. But I can see the academical argument. I haven't seen the entire video. I haven't seen it all. So alhamdulillah, I apologize if I'm misrepresenting what the video said. But from what I can tell from the Jordan Peterson, he's academically and articulating that we should try and bridge the gaps with our Shia and Sunni brothers. If I'm misrepresenting that, alhamdulillah, I will make a retraction, as I always do. I'm not afraid to say when I'm wrong. I'm not one of those kind of people. because he's a psychologist. In today's world, everyone is a psychologist. Has gotten Ben Shapiro working under him. Wow. And I didn't know he was working with Ben Shapiro, and I really don't like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is one of those kind of people that generally rubs me up the wrong way. He's a buzzword. He's not an intellectual. Jordan Peterson is an intellectual. That's the problem. And he is an academic. And yes, I do respect him for his academical achievements. If you've read The Psychology of the Broken Western Man, if you've read any of his papers, you'd understand why. No, nobody engages with the people. You see, this is what I'm saying. Jordan Peterson probably, when Jordan is live streaming. True, I probably would. Honestly, from what I've seen of Jordan Peterson, I think that he's either being naive or facetious in his actions. He may not necessarily know that there is a lot of blood, there is dogmatical problems, there is 1400 years, or say 1300, let's be kind to the Shias. They were with us for at least, relatively speaking, the first century. We can say that the Shias were Islamically still inside the Caliphate of Rusulus. So we can say that the first century of Islam, they were together. And it wasn't, we didn't drift apart, relatively speaking, until probably 1200, 1100 years ago. The differences 1400 years ago were probably very, very small. Jordan Peterson, here's the advice. Throw some D's on that. I'm just saying, I don't think he understands the depth of the problem in the Islamic world when it comes to saying sitting down talking to the Shias. We love our Sahaba so much that when they curse them, it makes our blood boil. And we will. I mean, the statement that I have been as a Muslim since I coming to Islam was, my Prophet, my honor. It's not hot today. It's not hot today, Zachary. It's very, very light today. It's very, 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 very light. But yeah, when we Muslims say our Prophet and our honor, many of us actually mean it. It's something very, very dear to us. So when somebody curses the Sahaba, we get real funny about it. We do not take that stuff lightly. So I don't think Jordan Peterson understands the connotations of what cursing the Sahaba is, and that a good section of them, of not all Shias, let me be very, very, not all Shias, but there are sections of the Shias. What do I think of the BJP? The political party in India right now, it's absolutely insane. The things that he was saying and doing during his election campaign was whipping up nationalism, that then the Indian Supreme Court disagreed with some of the things that they were saying. Like the Supreme Court said, hang on, that you can't do that. That's against the Constitution of India. And that's one of those things about Modi. He's not like the really psychotic who will change the Supreme Court, like Boris Johnson tried to do here in the UK. He's contrary. He will back off. BNP. Bird nest. Damn. BJP or BNP. A'udhu billah min shaitanir rajim. That just tickled. I didn't even twig that. I did not twig that. It was brilliant, Bird. That was brilliant. BNP, BJP. I like that. I like that a lot. That is a giggle. Like I said, the difference is with Modi, he's smart. He backs down when their Supreme Court kicks off, so he doesn't seem he's starting a constitutional issue. He's not like Johnson. He's smart evil, where Johnson is clown evil. You see, Boris Johnson is literally a clown evil. He thinks he can't be touched. He thinks he's invincible. He thought he would be prime minister for 20 years. You know, that's Boris Johnson. Whereas, no, he is, Zachary. That's the point, and I understand, and I empathise with that. He is a highly intellectual man, and he approaches problems in a highly intellectual kind of a perception. He doesn't have much streetwise. He doesn't know nothing. I am blessed enough that I have a bachelor's degree, but I also know some street smarts. So I'm not the kind of person that genuinely has had that. I still have the academic sheen to me. I'm not going to be like my beautiful brother Scotty Lum, who's all street smarts and all street wisdom. But I have at least enough of a veneer of how dangerous parts of London are, and what you can and can't do, and what you're prepared to do, across to do, etc., etc. Whereas Jordan Peterson is a pure academica. He's one of those people that is pure academica. And in his nature of being pure academica, he doesn't understand the depth of tribal roots, cultural norms, political echnicity, because he only reads them in books. He comes from Canada, and the Canadian country is all but practically manufactured from the ground upwards within a house that was this younger than the house I was born in. Jordan a wedgie. Give Jordan a wedgie. Zachary, oh, the beloved. You were one of the people I had to avoid when I was in bloody high school. You're a nightmare. You're the kind of person I would have avoided. You'd have looking for the bottle glass to Jordan Peterson. Yeah, Hindu nationalism is an absolute terror, Dr. Zeus. The problem being is there are a lot of Hindu priests who are standing up against it. And this isn't what is reported. We only hear the bad. So I'm not a supporter of Hinduism. I'm not a supporter of any of stuff like that. This weather has an optimal function. First thing first, the man that don't like the dish rings. Oh, let me read that. Don't like the dish rims is hard and respected. This Peterson guy needs to throw some D's on that itch. Fair enough. Don't get me wrong. I don't think JP is malicious bad, but he's not. But he's not grown closer to Islam by having Muhammad Hijab or Hamza Yusuf on than to address Muslims like he's now some new found pope who was a shambles. I get that, CH. I do get that. Like I said, I haven't seen the full clip, so alhamdulillah, if I've misjudged it, I will probably watch it later today. But from what I can tell, it seems that he's approaching the problem as an intellectual academica. Do you know what I'm saying? And he hasn't dived into the Islamic, and I think we shouldn't backlash so much. You've got to remember, he's looking from an outside in. He's not Muslim. He's not converted to Islam. He is still, in many ways, a kuffar. And I hate using that word, but he is what I would call an academic kuffar, without any shadow of a doubt. He's the person that you would expect intellectually to look in and see if he can solve these problems. And that's his goal. His desire is to solve these problems and be willing to solve these problems. And from an academical point of view, and academicas have never fixed anything. I'm keenly aware that it's people that fix problems. Academica point out the problems, but people fix the problems. We're the kind of people who say, man, I think that might be a problem. And then the common people are like, yeah, actually, the academica's right. Now we're going to fix it. You see, that's the problem. We're not the kind of people to actually fix the problems that are in society. Society's people fix the problems because they're on the ground. Academica will notice the problems and bring them to the awareness of the public. And in that regard, Jordan Peterson's trying to be both the fixer and the problem observer. And it doesn't work. And knowing your role in society is one of those things that many academica don't understand. And that's just a real, because I mean, let's take the abbreviated problems with a fringe idea like feminism that is now dominating entire sections of parts of the US intellectual communities. That being a feminist is now so incredibly popular that you can't even speak out against it. This is a key reason why I don't teach. It's a key reason why I'm not in the academical world in the proverbial sense of sitting down and teaching, simply because I would blatantly say feminism needs to be kicked back to the fringe, and I'd be counselled. I'd literally be fired, because I would say what needs to be said. I would bluntly say feminism is a fringe idea like CRT, and both of them need to be chucked to the road. CRT does not solve the problems in the Western world. There, I've said it live. On YouTube, and I don't care. CRT does not fix any of the world's problems. Islam fixes those problems. Islam deals with racism. Islam deals with classism. Islam deals with so much of our problems. And I don't feel that CRT, as a man-made constructed ideology, can realistically solve these problems we have. I mean, realistically, we have a religio-social construct that will solve the human dilemma position. We are here to worship Allah subhanahu. We are here for our creator. We are here to supplicate him, and that solves our social problems by getting humanity to worship the one God. And I fundamentally believe that. I fundamentally believe that. Once we acknowledge and accept the fact that we are here to worship Allah, then the other problems take care of themselves. Because then people aren't chasing money. Then people aren't chasing skirts. Then people aren't chasing status. People aren't chasing all the other things that they chase. All this dunya, this worthless shit, this clothing. I will be dead in 60 years. You know, this is nothing. Nothing. It's a blink of an eye. It's gone. Vanished. Before you know it, many of you, my younger brothers, will be putting me in the earth. I will be laid down before many of you. And as I say this with absolute conviction. I have no problems with this kind of concept or position. We are here for his sake. And by giving our worship to him, we guarantee where we are going. We know where we're going. We can visualize where we're going. We have seen it in our holy texts. I fundamentally do not think that the reason that people misunderstand how Muslims want to build a society, it is one where we are not chasing dunya, we are chasing deen. And yes, there will be Muslims who fall down, but if society is benign, caring, and society is still chasing deen over dunya, we will then move on to our better purpose. And that will solve global warming. It will solve oil consumption, because we will be chasing deen, not dunya. People won't want giant cars, they'll mass commute. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we won't be chasing these big Rolls Royces and that lot. We won't need any of these. Mass transport will solve 90% of the world's ecosystems. Who are the biggest proponents of mass transport? Muslims. We're the people who want things like tram lines, train lines, you know, public transport that's free to use by anybody. Cars should be considered a luxury item. Genuinely, I do believe that. I know many people may disagree with me on that, but I think public transport should be free, absolutely free, and cars and personal transportation devices should be a luxury item that should have their own tax. Because I think then, realistically, with free to run mass transport, you will then lower all of the things, because it's in the government and the Muslim people's interests to lower the carbon emissions, to preserve this dunya for the next generation, so that they can prove that they are worthy of Allah subhanahu. And this is why I don't grasp some of the problems that many of my academical friends, like they said, you've changed so much. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I've just embraced my religion fully. I said, that's the problem many academics don't understand. As I get back to the Jordan Peterson conversation previously, they don't grasp that when you fully submit to the deen of Allah and Muhammad, peace be upon him, your life changes. Your life, your mindset, your outlook changes. And they say, like, they're completely baffled by this situation. They don't know how to approach much of these problems. I know. The idea of mass transport is absolutely necessary, Umar, because free mass transport. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about Oyster cars and all that other crap that you see in London. I'm talking about free mass transport. You should not have to pay, as a Briton, in my opinion, in a country as rich as Britain, to ride from London to Glasgow. You should be able to get on a train, go see your cousins, pray in the masjid in Glasgow, come back to London the next day after staying over at the house. And that should be entirely free. Cars should be a luxury. They should be perceived as a luxury. They should sit as a luxury, because they are well stated. Bro, Irish, can you say, yo, Peterson, you're a moist one, fix it up. Yo, Peterson, you're a moist one. You need to fix yourself up, blood. How's that work for you, bird? I tell you what, I might do a TikTok like that. Just because that would just be hilarious, you know. I'm going to write that down. That was brilliant, bird. That was absolutely brilliant. Stop giving me these ideas. I think that's going to be. I think it's going to be perfect. Yes. Yo, Peterson, you're a moist one. Fix it up. So, Bird, if you're on TikTok and you see it and that goes viral, I will absolutely shout you out for that. I will absolutely. So I don't know if you've got a TikTok, but if you see it and it's got like 100,000 likes from all of our Irish brothers, I'll say, my boy, my brother or sister. I don't remember if, Bird, are you male Are you a brother or sister, Bird? My apologies. I think Bird Nest is actually a sister. I would be Lama Shitana regime if I've called you a brother. My apologies. But yeah, no, yeah. Jordan Peterson, you're moist, mate. Fix yourself up. Kill me. Absolutely fucking kill me. That is such a wrong one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to use that. I'm absolutely going to use that. Bird Nest, to be honest, anything that, like, those demonstrations tend to be because of their lack of power and consumption. There is. African sister, salam alaikum. I'm very good, thank you, today. The answer to that, I'm pretty sure, in the 1670s, anti-gravity device. Oh, okay. My apologies, Bird Nest. I didn't know because the translation of the names from here to the TikTok accounts is generally quite weird, so I don't know. My apologies. But in essence, Bird Nest, to answer your question, the power consumption of that anti-gravity device is too much. If it is what I think it is, because for devices to be affordable, they don't need to eat more than 1-to-1 ratio electricity. That's the basics of all science. You must make power consumption below 1 to 0.1. So 1 unit in of energy required, 1 unit of fuel energy out. If you go above that ratio, the technology is unfeasible. Now, there are hundreds of human technologies we have that are energetically unfeasible. Wow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sister. Bro says, I'm going to end this man's whole career like Conor McGregor. Hey, audience, there's a live stream tonight on FS page. Yeah, you see, that's the problem. We don't have a reliable energy source to fuel it. Irish nationalism is complicated, Dr. Zeus, and it's wrapped up on home rule. It's not the same. Like many people think Irish nationalism is something different. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone who joined my live. So, Dr. Zeus, Irish nationalism is more about self-determinationism than it is. I would say Irish nationalism is akin, very likely, akin to Palestinian self-determination. In the fact that the Irish people want, some of the Irish people, many of my cousins in Dublin don't want, they don't want the conflict specifically going on in Belfast joining them. They don't want them. There is an Irish vocal minority of the Republic of Ireland who don't want Belfast and the North to join them. A good chunk of Ireland does. A vocal minority is like, you know what, that's going to be more accurate than it's worth, because we can't expel the Protestants, and the Protestants will be angry as hell. Like the Protestants the Protestant North outnumbers the Catholic North, absolutely, by a shade. So if Ireland was to absorb Northern Ireland, they would gain an entirely angry population that has built their identity around being part of the UK for the better part of nearly 100 years. I believe in Irish unity, Zeus. I will be honest with that. Not because I'm a supporter of Sinn Féin. I'm really not. I'm not even a supporter of the Unionist parties. But because I believe that the British Empire should be dismantled. The last vestiges of it should be taken apart, so that Britain can stop thinking like an empire and start thinking like a country that had an empire and start actually healing. Holding on to Grenada, the Falklands, Northern Ireland, these are vestiges of imperialism. And in essence, the British people need to let go of them. The Falklands need to be either made an independent part of South America, if that's what they want to choose, or they need to join Argentina. I don't think the Falklanders want to join Argentina, but we need to stop ruling the territory overseas, in my humble opinion. Wow. 20, that's a lot of money. Damn, that's a lot of money, sister. But in essence, I fundamentally stand by the reality that my views on Irish nationalism has to come internally. The Northern Irish people need to make the decision that they want to join Ireland, and I don't see that happening in my lifetime. I don't want any kind of violent response that leads towards anybody dying. I don't want the Troubles to kick off again. That was a terrifying part of Northern Ireland's history. Blood, guts, especially if you come from a Catholic family. Not something I would endure for anyone. The stories my cousins, my uncles told me are horrific. I'm glad to see that, African sister. Nationalism in general is about the rulership of well, you see, it has an acronymical term. This is the problem. Some nationalisms, because modern nationalism isn't the same as Hitler nationalism. This is the problem, because this is why we call social nationalism, which is what Irish nationalism, Scottish nationalism is, whilst Hitler's nationalism is what we'd call racial supremacy nationalism. So there are different terms. I'm being very academic here at this point. So the terminology used for Irish nationalism is self-determination. Palestinian nationalism is a form of nationalism when you're really boiling it down to what nationalism is. But they want self-determination. They want self-rule. They want country rule. They want to govern their own affairs, their own people. But where the modern nationalistic of self-determination is very different. They're talking about government by their own people, laws written by their own people, sorting out their stuff for their own self-determination. So self-determination nationalism is one side, genuinely white or black or pink nationalism is another type. Black Panthers and the BNP have very, very similar ideologies. You just flip the switch. Are you black or are you white? So I mean, that's an extreme version of nationalism. Then there's the self-determinations of like the South Sudanese, of the Palestinians, of the Northern Irish, of the Scottish, of the Welsh nationalism would be called socialistically nationalist. So the nationalist pole is a swing thing. You have one side of nationalism that is vile, that is about my race, and that race can be any denomination. That could be Russian, that could be Italian, that could be African. There are African nationalists. People don't realise that there are tribal people in some parts of Africa that have said we don't want whites, we don't want mixed race blacks, we don't want any of these other people. And that's a form of racism. And we need to point out racism where it's racism. You know, black people can be racist. The idea that they can't is an oxymoron. I do not stand by the idea that the oppressed cannot be racist. Every human being can be racist. Every human being is capable of racism. We as a human race can be racist, misogynistic, nasty, vile human beings. You need to acknowledge that humans have it in the capacity to do all types of evil. Shaitan whispering in your ear can affect anybody based upon their skin colour. And that's why I don't buy into CRT a great deal. But in this aspect, yes, the nationalistical approach is one of considerable problem. I'm losing everyone. Be shown their propaganda. Birdnest, you're killing me today. You're absolutely murking me. I didn't show me their propaganda. I don't want your wokedom. Get rid of your wokedom. It ain't my thing. I don't want to watch your wokedom. Take your pronouns and stick it up your... I'm being really bad today. I'm getting into this live because I swear I'm going to say some things that are going to get recorded and everyone's going to try and counsel me. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So that's been a good 40 minutes. I am very, very impressed with this live, to be quite honest. It's been very entertaining. I appreciate that, Birdnest. I am definitely going to make a TikTok about that. I think that's going to go down well. People are going to have a right old giggle. I'm going to make a quote on the TikTok from Birdnest off of my YouTube lives, and an infamous statement. Peter Johnson, you're moist, mate. Sort it out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been a pleasure. Function when in 30 degrees, nice temperature. Very, very true. It's not 30 degrees at the moment. Anyway, I'll see everyone soon. It's been a pleasure having you all.